I thank Andy Warhol for giving me so much hair. Vicki, you know, all of us who've held high public office in America have received introductions that exceed our capacity. But coming from you, what you said today meant a great deal to me. You know, so many years of personal friendship. And you know, this is one of the most meaningful honors I've ever received in my career. Vicki, you and Patrick and Teddy Jr., who can't be here tonight, I thank you all and all the Kennedys and the Teddy Kennedy's legacy alive. You know, well, I won't get into it. I really mean it. The one thing I think the Kennedys and the Bidens have in common is we know, as my dad used to say, family is the beginning, the middle, and the end. There's no way I'd be here tonight receiving this award without my family, and I mean that. Many of you served with me, and I've served with you like we have, pal. Know what my family is to me. And my wife, Jill, she's here tonight. I think we'd all agree she was a hell of a first lady. Excuse a slightly crude reference, but I fell ass over tin cups in love with her when I saw her. I had to ask her 5 times to marry. Oh, it's God's truth, 5 times. I was heading down to South Africa, and I came back. This is 5 years after the loss of my first wife. And I was coming back, and I'd been gone for a while. And I stopped at her apartment, knocked on the door in Wilmington, and I said, Jill, she said, oh, come on in, so good to see you. I said, no, I said, I'm gonna ask you one more time. It's God's truth, my word is abiding. So I'm gonna ask you one more time. Not when, but will you marry me? She went like this. Okay. Best okay I ever heard in my life. But look, and our daughter Ashley is home listening to this now. Our daughter is, she helped me, not a joke, she was a young girl, and she helped me sit and watch me write the Violence Against Women Act, which as she said, Dad wrote with his own paw. But she runs homeless shelters for abused women in Philadelphia, but she has a very serious ear infection that wouldn't let her fly. And so she's listening, and honey, I wish you were here because I would like everybody to know I love you. I love you. And my son Hunter, who couldn't be here tonight either, but I talk to him every single day, and he was the wind beneath my son Bo's wings. He was an incredible guy. He went through hell when he lost his brother. The year and a day apart and each other's best friends, but he's been straight and sober. Everything's back in his life again in 5.5 years, so I'm proud. My best friend in the world, along with her husband, who was my classmate, Jack, are here. Valerie and Jack, stand up, guys. I want people to see you. Come on, stand up. Valerie and I went to University of Delaware, same period of time. She used to be 3 years younger than me. Now she's 30. But we took a lot of the same courses the last 2 years. She got straight A. She was almost Phi Beta Kappa. I graduated. My brother Jimmy, who, if you screw around with me, you got to screw around with Jimmy. Jimmy's been my best buddy. He's been always with me, my sidekick, and we've done an awful lot together. Jimmy and his wife Sarah are here as well. Sarah, Jimmy, stand up. And Valerie, Jimmy, my brother Frank, who couldn't be here, we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot. And there are more friends here than I can count. If I start to name them, I'll be in real trouble. But I want to thank you all. Thank you all for those of you we've worked together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, I want to thank two members of my administration being honored tonight. I want to thank them very much. Marty Walsh. Many of you know him as the mayor. I know him as a damn good Secretary of Labor and the best friend you could possibly have because he has a backbone like a rabbit. But Marty says he does, and he doesn't back off. And Admiral, you make me so damn proud. One of the proudest memories of my career is having the opportunity to appoint you the first woman as Chief of Naval Operations and the first woman to serve as Chief of Staff. I said I was going to have an administration that looked like America, and it did. And God love you for making the sacrifice you made to do it. You're a remarkable leader, Admiral. I really mean it. Look, I know it's getting late, but I want to tell you how much this means to me to receive this award that honors the legacy of my friend Teddy Kennedy, who was by my side in every consequential moment of my political life. And that's not hyperbole. I ran in 1972. I was 29 years old. I wasn't old enough to be sworn in when I got elected. But Teddy was about the same age when he got elected. And you know, the running to unseat a long-time incumbent U.S. Senator, an honorable man, a good man, J. Caleb Boggs. He co-authored the environmental legislation and a whole lot of other good things. But no one would run. And so I ended up running. By the way, he endorsed me the second time I ran. But nobody, and I mean nobody, thought we had much of a chance. But Teddy Kennedy, he didn't listen to them. He came to Delaware and campaigned for me in that race, and he's there the night before the election eve. He came and campaigned. The night before the election began. I won that election, and I wasn't even old enough to be sworn in. A month later, Teddy was there for me again. An accident claimed the life of my first wife and my daughter. My two sons were very badly injured. I was with my boys in the hospital, and Teddy called. Day after day he called. Every time I turned around, there was another specialist that Teddy literally sent down from one of the great hospitals here in Boston to help out. I was planning to give up my seat in the Senate. Nothing courageous. We had 58 Democratic senators. I didn't see how I could possibly do the job of being a dad and being a senator. But Teddy and another wonderful man named Mike Mansfield, who was a majority leader, and a few others got together and said, look, just stay 9 months, Joe. Teddy wouldn't let me give up. He and his mother, Rose, invited me and the boys to Hyannis to help us heal. In Washington, he treated me like a younger brother, dropping by me by to drag me to the Senate gym, private senator's dining room, where only senators ate. I didn't want to do any of it. But he helped me get to know senators and colleagues personally, introducing me to other senators, helping me get in the key committees. And folks, all politics, in my view, is personal. You know, there used to be an office there used to be a private Senate dining room for senators only, over by where the regular senators' dining rooms, where a senator can take a guest. And a lot of you remember it. You walk in and there's one long table with a buffet table on the left, and in another room that had a table in the opposite direction, and senators got their needs. I couldn't understand how Teddy and Eastland could get in ripping each other and then go have lunch together. No. But it's hard. It's hard to dislike a man when you find out his wife is dying, when you know he has cancer, when you know he's worried about what's happening to his family. It's hard. It's hard. And it gives you a different perspective. Years later, when I was recovering from a cranial aneurysm, Teddy took the train to Wilmington, Delaware, showed up at my house unannounced to cheer me up, to keep me focused on the future. The Bidens have a family motto: if you have to ask, it's too late. Well, Teddy lived that motto. He never had to ask. He was always there. He made such a profound difference in my personal life and the life of my children and the life of my family. Even after his passing, his warmth continued to envelop me through the kindness of his beloved wife, Vicki, and his son, and all his children. When my son, Bo, was the Attorney General of Delaware, passed away in 2015 after being a year in Iraq, Vicki shared a letter with me that Teddy's father had written to him, to a friend, I should say, after the passing of Ted's older brother, Joe. I still have it, Vicki. And it reads like this: when one of your loved ones goes out of your life, you think, what might he have done with a few more years? And you wonder what you're going to do with the rest of yours. Then one day, because there is a world to be lived in, you find you're part of trying to accomplish something he did not have time enough to do. Perhaps that's the reason for it all. And I found that to be incredibly comforting. I hope so, he said. I hope so. Vicki, there's so much about Teddy that I sorely miss. But today, as many of us try to make sense of the dark and perilous times we're facing our country, I think a lot about what I consider to be Teddy's defining trait: optimism. He never, ever, ever, ever gave up. Unrelenting, unconditional optimism. Because you see, Ted believed in the fundamental goodness of the American people. He believed that everyone deserves a fair shot, that the middle class built this country and unions built the middle class. He did. No, for real. And Teddy believed our institutions were all about making life better for people, for all Americans, by ensuring they have access to a good job, a fair wage, decent health care, which Teddy called the cause of his life. No guarantee, but an opportunity. Fundamentally, Ted believed in the power of our democracy to pull our nation through the worst of moments. And folks, we can't kid ourselves. We are in one of those moments right now. In my over 50 years in elected public life, this is the worst I've seen it. If Ted were here today, he'd still be fighting like hell, but his optimism would be surely tested. Because truth be told, our very democracy is at stake in my view. Look, I know it's tempting to check out, to throw up your hands, and it feels heartbreaking some days. But if Teddy were here today, he'd draw inspiration from the lessons he and his siblings learned growing up. The same ones I learned from my dad. Whenever we faced tough times as a kid, my dad would look at me and say, "Joey, get up. You get knocked down, get up, Joey. Just get up." That's my message to us tonight. We have to get up. All those who love Teddy and who love our country, all of us who are dismayed by the present state of the Union, this is no time to give up. It's time to get up. Get up now, get up. Amid a civil rights battle, the peak of the Vietnam War, 5 years after JFK's assassination, Teddy's brother Bobby was running for president. It was just as I was getting involved in politics. And there did not seem to be much of a cause for optimism. Nevertheless, RFK delivered a speech at the University of Kansas with a simple message expressing a profound thought. And here's what he said: I think we can do better in this country. I think we can do better in this country. As divided as the country is today, I believe that's one thing we can all agree on. We can do better in this country than is being done now. And we must. We must do better in this country. We all agree that our politics is broken, that political violence, never acceptable, is out of hand, that America should be a place not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace, that our institutions are what makes us the envy of the world, and our democracy is worth fighting like hell for. Friends, since its founding, America has served as a beacon for the most powerful idea ever in government in the history of the world. As Teddy once said, most of the world still knows what we can be, what only we can be, and they want us to be that nation again. America is the only country in the world founded on an idea, not geography, not religion, not ethnicity, a big idea. The idea is stronger than any army, more powerful than any dictator. The idea is we hold these truths to be self-evident, that we're all created equal and deserve to be treated with dignity throughout our lives. While we never fully lived up to that idea, we've never walked away from it either. And after spending over 50 years at the center of it all, I know that the idea of America depends on our respect for the institutions that govern and guarantee a free society. It depends on a presidency with limited powers. It depends on a functioning Congress. It depends on autonomous judiciary. It depends on a free and independent press. Institutions that reflect the timeless words, we hold these truths to be self-evident. And we, the people. Alexis de Tocqueville wrote, and I quote, America is great because she is good. America is great because she is good. In America, if we cease to be good, America will cease to be great. Throughout our history, the idea of America is constantly being tested. Ongoing debates about the power and the exercise of power. Debates about whether we lead by the example of our power or the power of our example. Whether we show the courage to stand up to the abuse of power or we're going to yield to it. We face these existential questions again today. We remain in the battle for the soul of our nation, in my view. And that means we, all of us, and I mean all of us, have an enormous responsibility to protect the institutions upon which the fate of our nation rests. No one is exempt from responsibility. No one gets a pass on standing up to the bullies and standing firm against the threats. Time and again, throughout history, at moments of great crisis, we Americans have summoned the better angels of our nature and brought our country back from the abyss. And folks, there's some good news. It's happening again right now in America. Right now. Look across the country and you'll see it. Average Americans showing courage, making exceptional and extraordinary sacrifices to protect our democracy. The federal employee who resigns rather than follow the order that he knows is wrong. The university that fights back against the threats rather than compromise its academic legitimacy and integrity. The late night hosts continue to shine a light on free speech, knowing their careers are on the line. The elected officials who buck their own party, knowing they will be hell to pay for it. The journalists and corporations and advocacy groups, law firms, who are doing the right thing, knowing retribution is right around the corner. In every state in this nation, there are Americans doing what Teddy Kennedy spent his life doing, standing up, standing tall, fighting to make our country live up to its highest ideals, because they believe in a simple truth, that the soul of the nation is worth fighting for. Let me close with this. America is not a fairy tale. For 250 years, it's been a constant push and pull, an existential struggle between peril and possibility. We're not guaranteeing any happy endings. And maybe, it's that unwavering optimism I learned from my friend Teddy that caused me to say, I believe in the America of our dreams is always closer than we think. That's why the work of Edward M. Kennedy Institute is so important. Teaching young people how to fight for, strengthen, and cherish the institutions that make our democracy. Literally, a beacon for the world. When I was president, I said the most urgent question facing the country was whether democracy is still America's sacred cause. Sacred cause. I believe the answer is yes. I'll never believe the answer could ever be anything other than that. It can never be no. As I began to build my own presidential library, I hope that it too will inspire a love of democracy in future generations. Because whatever my legacy may be, I hope will be said of me what is true of Teddy, that we believed in our democracy, that we knew it was worth fighting for. Friends, I can't sugarcoat any of this. These are dark days, but we're one of the only countries in the world that time and again has come out of every crisis we faced stronger than we went into that crisis. Every one. And after half a century of watching this, sometimes moved to the brink before finding our true compass again, I still believe we'll emerge as we always have. Stronger, wiser, more resilient, more just. So long as we keep the faith, remember who in God's name we are. In the words of Scripture, the Kennedy family has invoked on other times of great moral crisis, quote, be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. Folks, it's time to get back up. It's time to get re-engaged. It's time to act, to fight like hell, to fight like Teddy would fight. That's what we owe Teddy. That's what we owe each other. That's what makes us, look, that's what we owe our kids in this country. So it's time to get back up. Above all else, get back up. Get up, America. Get up, get up, get up now. Thank you. God bless you, and may God protect the United States of America.